Hello, this is Grandma Jan from Red Toad Art Studio, and today we are going to do the second in our robot and astronaut collages. If you remember last time, we did this guy. I'll show you how he turned out. And I will link to this video if you want to do it. I think he turned out really cute. The astronaut and his alien friend. But today, we are going to work on our second astronaut. And this is just our pattern pieces. What we need to do today is finish this. So, I'll go back here to a page we can start gluing on. Now, I will show you the other two that are just in pattern pieces, but we'll have a robot and another robot that we'll still be doing. So I hope you'll join us for these. As I said in the first one, these are perfect collages to do with your grandkids or kids. They like the subject and they're not too hard, I don't think, for them. It might be hard for a kindergartner. They might have to have help cutting out, but most kids can do this. And you'll need to download our pattern pack, and that will be in the box below. There's 3 pages. There's pieces. See, I've already cut out of this one. There's body pieces, there's face pieces, helmets, arms, hats, gloves. These are actually shoes. And here we have an alien and a flying saucer that you can use. And the idea is to create your own robot or astronaut by putting pieces together however you want to put them together. So you can do them the way I'm going to do them, or do them any other way, whatever you want. This is for fun. But you will need to download our pattern pieces. Now for what we're doing today, we'll use body number 6. Let's see. And legs number 11, arms number 20, gloves 21. Oh, and we did the small head and the helmet. But you can use anything else that you want and do it in a different way if you want. We also used the flying saucer, and there's a little bit of trick to get that put together, and I'll show you that. So, if you've downloaded that, and a hint before I forget to give it to you, I forgot it in my last video, if you want to do it in a small book. Now, this is a pretty large book. It's about 12 inches high, and this fits just right in that. If you want to make a smaller one, just change your settings in your print box to either print at 75% or 50%, all depending on how you want these to turn out. This was at 50%, and I can do a guy about, I think, about that high in a 50%, and he'll be cute in my medium-sized book. So, let's get at it. The first thing you will need to do, let me move the book out here. After you've downloaded your patterns, is to pick which ones you want to use. And this is not one we're using this time, but cut it out of your sheet of paper. You may actually want to print this at least 2 times so you have enough legs and arms to do your subject. And so lay it out on the piece of paper you want. If it's a printed piece of paper, it can be scrapbooking paper, it can be magazine paper, or it can be paper you've painted or colored with crayons even. And then lay this on and trace it out. Now, I'm going to use a piece of tape to keep it with my patterns. And then, before you cut it out, draw over the lines with a permanent marker. I like to have these black lines drawn because they set your piece off on your background. And then you will need to cut it out. I already have my piece cut out for this one. And it is this piece right here. And I've cut it out and then taken my marker and finished the lines across like this. You don't have to do that, but I decided I wanted to do that. So I cut out all the pieces I wanted for my robot. So let's go over and start putting things on my page. Keep this here to glue with. Move my pattern pieces over and get my book. Now you can look for a background in magazines, or use scrapbooking paper, which is what I've got out to use as my background, or paint your own background, or use a white background. Now, if you're in a clean book like a art book or a journal book that you're using, and it's just white paper, you can just collage on top of the white paper and it'll look nice. But I'm using a calendar book that is old. And what else will I use a calendar book for but to put my collages in? And I've got several in here. And I've decided I'm going to use scrapbooking paper. Something like this. Like I did in the last one. I had 2 pieces of scrapbooking paper. So what I need to do, this is my template. I need to cut pieces of paper that will cover my template. I think we'll probably do it that direction. So I need to mark where I need to cut this. This is almost exactly right here. And how is this one? Yeah, I need to shorten that one, and I need to make this piece a little narrower. So I'll get my cutter and cut this down to size. You could also cut this out with scissors or a craft knife. I love my cutter though. You can get these at most stores. Walmart has it, craft stores have it, and they're not terribly expensive. They're only about $20, $30. And you'll use it and use it and use it. Picking up my mouse to cut won't work, will it? Let's see where I need to cut this. Lay my cutter aside. And this is what I want to end up with on my page. So, let's glue this down first. I'm going to make room to put a piece of paper here to glue on. And I'm just using Elmer's School Glue. And it is a purple glue. But that's alright. This purple disappears. And you'll never know it was purple. And it helps you know if you covered it well. It's the spots that don't have glue on it that have a tendency to wrinkle with this. Now, a wet glue is totally different. But with the stick glues, you try not to leave any spots that you missed. If you get the big fat sticks, it goes on a lot quicker. But I would actually advise you to get the next grade up of glue. It's a permanent glue stick by Elmer's that is for crafting. And it's not quite as messy as this glue is. But this will work. And most of us have this in our drawers. Try not to leave any lumps of glue. And fit this right in with a little space above and a little space below. And take our range scraper and press it down. Get any bubbles out of it. Now, the more you get out now, the less you'll have to fight with them later. Turn the page over and give a good press down. And then I like to also brayer it. Get any wrinkles out I can. Taking time now to get rid of wrinkles will save you a lot of frustration later when you try to get rid of them. And they won't go away then. Okay. And then we had another piece, just plain blue, that will fit right there. Yep. So move this over again and get glue on the back of this. Okay. And fit this right in here. Oops, we came down a little bit. There we go. From the middle outward. And take our scraper and flatten it down, get any wrinkles out. This is something you will do all throughout your collaging, is get rid of wrinkles. You just have to get used that this is a thing you will be doing. And there's our background, all nice and neat and flat. Now, what I was trying to decide is if I would like a little bit of a plant to show down here, about like that. And I think I would. So I'm going to cut this out. This came from a magazine. You can find your supplies so many different places, and they don't have to all come from the same place to use in the same video. I gather them from scrapbook paper, from magazines, from books, just various places, and patterns like this. And this is free for you to use. I drew this myself, so you can use it to make your collages, even if you want to sell it to a friend. It's free to use except for big commercial uses by companies. I would need to be contacted for that. Okay. I'm going to mark kind of where I think I need to cut this. And I'll get my cutter again. And fit that right in here, I think. All right, let's glue this down. There was a neat picture of, I think it's Saturn or Jupiter, on the back. And it was tempting to use it, but it didn't really fit on my picture. There's lots of times you'll have to choose between two you like and choose the best one for your picture. There we go. Now we need to build our astronaut. This is a body piece for him. See what else I've got in here. I've cut a bunch of stuff out already to save time. You don't have to watch me cut. Here's some arms and legs. I want to use the small side of this as cuffs. So the fat side up and the smaller side down. There we go. Let's see if I got some other things cut for him. Or her. Girls can be astronauts now. Isn't that neat? I'm going to take a bunch of little pieces out and look through them. Let's see. Gloves. And boots. There we go. And we're going to fit the flying saucer up here. This is not done yet. It's in pieces. But I want to save room for a flying saucer up there. And we need his head. Let's see. I know I had some little pieces. Okay, what you can do is cut out some small heads that will fit in the helmets. Oops. These fit pretty good. If we have a girl astronaut, here's another one that would fit real well and I think be very cute. Or you can use the head that is provided. And it's cut out of some pink paper. And I think it's a small head in your pattern pieces. Like that. And you might want to use a red helmet or a white helmet or possibly a metal helmet. And I think that's what I want to do. So I'll show you how to make a metal helmet in a minute. So let's glue these things down and have these solid, and then we'll work on her helmet and then the flying saucer. Okay, let's see. Let's decide exactly where these legs need to be. Let's move this up. We want her firmly planted on whatever planet that is, whether it's Mars or Jupiter. And the fat part of these shoes is a part that hooks to the leg. Nope, I think we were right before. All right. Now be sure all your pieces are lined in ink. And we'll glue them. Okay. His legs are down. And let's put his shoes on. My camera battery just died on me. And in the meantime, I pasted down the gloves and the body. When you do the body, put paste on the whole thing, but don't press it down at the top until you fit the arms underneath there. And the cuff, this small end is the cuff side, which fastens to the gloves. So when you paste the gloves, just paste them right over the end of those arms and then press down on this. I think that catches us up for what we missed. Now I need to show you how to make the helmet. Take a piece of cardstock or heavy paper and trace around it. You'll probably use your pattern piece, but I just have my helmet here and I'm going to use that since that's what I've got. Okay, now cut it out. But you don't have to cut it out, just go around it. Cut out the piece. Get a piece of tin foil out. The shiny side is the side I want to show, so I'll put it not shiny side up. And we'll cut out a piece. Well, let's wait to cut it out until we glue it. Glue the back of this. Leave this where you can see it. And be sure you don't have any lumps of glue because it will show up under your foil. Let this be as smooth as possible. And glue it down to your foil. Turn it over and smooth it out. And you should have a pretty piece of silver cardboard. Then cut out around your piece of foil. And then cut your helmet out. There we go. And turn it over, and you have a nice silver helmet. Now, before you glue that on, let's edge it in black ink. I use a Sharpie. This is a black Sharpie fine point, and there's ultra fine points besides this, but this makes a nice line that's not too big and not too little. I don't always do this the neatest, although I try. There we go. Now let's find our head. Here, this is the one that's in our patterns, the small head. And it will be just like that. I think that will work. Now you can draw any expression you want on that face if you don't like this. Take your helmet and let's put glue on the back of it. And we want to put it on our small head. Of course, we don't want to glue it down there. Now, turn that over and put glue on the back of it. And put it on our astronaut. Now, he looks like he needs a neck, doesn't he? We'll just draw that in with our marker. Just a little line there will do. Now, let's give it a bray to smooth things out. Let's turn our page over and do that again. There we go. Now we need to make our flying saucer, and there's several steps to that, so I'm going to lay the book aside and make room to make our saucer. We need to cut this out. Rough cut it out first. And then fussy cut it. This is actually probably the hardest part of our project, is making the flying saucer. And it doesn't have to be in there. You can use the aliens instead. Just color the alien with markers or crayons or paint, or make it out of patterned paper, which would be cute. Now, what we need to do is cut along this middle line. Just like that. On a piece of cardstock, trace it out. Rough cut it out, and find a piece of tin foil that will fit it. Put the shiny side down, and we want to glue this right here. Remember, shiny side down, drawing up, and glue it right there. Press it down nice and even. Oops, I see I have a little tear there. Oh, it's all right. It's not on my saucer. It will work out just fine. And then cut it out. Now ink these edges. Now, we need a second flying saucer to cut out the top pattern piece. So I hope you printed 2 copies of your pattern. I believe I have another copy here somewhere. Well, I had to go print me another sheet of patterns because we need 2 to make our flying saucer. And this time, let's move all this stuff. This time, cut out the top part. This will be the glass part that he sits in and sees through, our alien. So cut that out. Alright, now you may wonder how we do that and make something that the alien can see through is we want something like this. This is a piece of plastic that came on something we bought. In fact, it came off of some cookies that we bought. And this was a little, but it's what I had, so I had to use this. If you have a little bigger piece, it'll be a little easier. But cut it a flat piece out if you can. And trim it so there's no bulges or cracks or anything like that. There, now, lay our pattern on it. Now, in fact, I want a little piece of tape right now to fasten it on. Just a little piece of tape. Trim it. And that'll go on top of our flying saucer. So, let's see. Let's take a look at this. Let's, with a pencil, kind of mark this line. It'll just be, do it lightly. And you probably can't even see this on camera. I have a light line there. And we have to put our alien in there. So let's get a craft knife. Most of you have a knife, a craft knife, somewhere around the house. And grandmas and moms, if you're doing this with the kids, you probably better do this part. But along that invisible line, only part way down, you will need to make a slit. And this is for our alien to sit in. Yep, see? There's a slit here. That's all we need our craft knife for. And then we need to cut an alien. And that's a different alien than what we have in our patterns. You'll have to go through, say, a toy magazine or a book or a cartoon and pick some figures that would make good aliens to be in your ship. I've got 3 here that I think would be cute. And just to cut them out and then slip them down in here. That's one. I think these trolls are cute in there too with their big hair. There's another one. But my favorite is this little guy. And he fits right down in there. So we're going to want to put this plastic piece over him like he's inside the flying saucer. So we need to outline this in ink. There we go. Now, be careful not to smear this ink until it dries. And then this will go right there. While that ink is drying, let's put our lights around it like this one had. And there's 2 or 3 ways you can do that. On this one, I just punched holes out of some bright orange paper. And glued them on one by one. Or, I think it would be neat to use sequins. We could put a row of sequins on. I think that is so neat. You can find you several sequins and glue on. Let's do that next. I'm going to set them below it. Dampen your finger to pick up your sequins. They can be crazy to work with. They either stick to everything or stick to nothing. Actually, your paper is probably the easier thing to use, but these are cute. I like the sequins here. These are different size, but I don't think that will hurt anything because things will get smaller as it goes around the... As I said, they will stick to everything. All right. I was quite generous there, wasn't I? For ease of use, you may want to use the paper dots, but these look really neat. It depends on who's making this, whether you want to go these. They're a little picky to work with. And if your kids are too young, I would say color the alien and forget the flying saucer. But it's cute if they're old enough to make it without getting too frustrated. Thank goodness glue dries so you can't see it. It kind of stuck, but not enough. I think it's hard to stick to the foil. We have two slick things. The sequined and the foil makes it hard. Okay, another one should do it. All right, now that needs to dry a little bit. So, while that's drying, let's do a few stars. If you notice, there were some stars on here. Take your markers, and I've just got Sharpie markers, but any will do, or your crayons. Now, I have found with yellow, it always wants to pick up the black ink. So it's best not to go over the lines. I don't know why that is. The others don't seem to do that, but yellow always seems to do it. And give it a good color with your stars. And an orange one, and I have some over there I had extra. If you've made 2 copies, you'll be able to have 6 stars. So use as many as you want out of that, or as little as you want. Okay, and let's cut the stars out real quick. And we're about done. Okay, another star. We get an orange star. Okay. Now, one hint, when you're out looking for an alien to put in your spacecraft, you could use the cutout piece that's like this and put them over your little guys, whoever you think you might want, and see if it fits inside. Then you won't have to cut out things that won't fit. Now, he won't fit the way he is, but we can cut his hair off, or at least part of it. I'll save these guys when my grandkids make these. So, let me lay the stars aside and see if I have some more stars here. I know I have this one, and I have this one. Hey guys, we are almost done. We have to wait for our glue to dry here. Okay. Let's see if we can get our little guy to fit in here. Here's our bubble top. About like that. Let's try to hold him in there and get him glued down. We'll have to trim his ears. Sorry, little guy. There we go, he's glued down. Now, amazingly, if you put this glue over this see-through plastic, when it dries, you can't tell there was glue there. So we need just to, I think we need to take this and glue this on the top. Let's just do a little bit of a line here on the bottom to start it. And don't worry, the purple will go away even if it's on the plastic. And place this about where you want it. And then turn it over and trim their ears or their hair or anything that happens to be sticking out. Okay, I think I've got a little bit of ear left. Now, let's get our picture back. I want my spaceship, my flying saucer, to be right there, and then I'm going to scatter some stars through here. Maybe 3's enough. Okay, let's get those fastened down. Careful, those sequins may not be dry yet. I think I took part of the alien's face. Be careful when you're gluing here. Magazine paper tears so easy. I don't think we'll notice it though. All right. And let's glue the stars on. Now this needs to dry a little bit before we bray it. And I'm going to let that dry, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes to bray it and then to seal it. If you just want to leave it this way and don't worry about sealing it, you can quit now. And with the little kids, you might just want to do that. But if they're older and you want to seal it, let's move on. I'm a little unhappy with this down here that's uneven, and I'm also going to see if a piece of washi tape will go down there. So I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, we're back. It's still a little sticky, but it's almost totally dry. And while I'm waiting, this was the middle of my helmet when I cut it out, and I could use that to put right there, or I could look through my book and find something neat to put there. There is a jewel or two in here I think would be really neat. How about that? While I'm waiting for that to finish drying, why don't I fussy cut this out? Okay, see, what do you think? Oh, I think that would be neat. This came out of my Cutout and Collage, volume number 5. You can get this at Amazon. Has a lot of neat pictures in it. There we go. I might save this. Save this to put on something else. And this will go right there. There we go. Let's see if we're dry enough to give it a little braying. We can at least go over that. I'm not sure about going over those, but I guess it will take it, won't it? There we go. Flip our page over and bray this side. And you can call it done. Now, I want to try a piece of washi tape here, though. If you have any of that, you can do that. Or cut a strip of paper if you have an uneven bottom like I do. And then I want to seal it. I found the perfect piece of washi tape. It's a blue piece, and it says greetings on it. How lucky is that? I didn't even know I had that. And I think it will go just like this. Greetings. I love that. It's the lucky accidents you come across that make this so much fun. If you'd have planned it, it couldn't have been better. Look at that. Greetings. Greetings. All right, now I need to get my brush and some water. And we'll seal this and be done. Okay, my Mod Podge is in a squeeze bottle. I'll take off the top, and it's so easy to do it this way. Just squeeze a little bit out and brush it on. Try to hit all the edges good and seal them down. And when you go over something that's silver, it'll turn it white until it dries, and then you won't know it's on there. This will look really messy, but that's okay. If I can do this without shifting any of my sequins. There we go. Put your brush in water right away or it will not work again. And tap your Mod Podge. And then let this dry for a half hour perhaps. And then you can brayer it again to get out any small wrinkles that might have come about. And once you've done that, and it's nice and dry, maybe after a couple hours, close the book and put heavy books on top of this book, and it will press out any remaining wrinkles. I've had the fan on this, and it's pretty much dry. I'm going to give it its last bray. I'm not sure what the term is there. Now be careful over these sequins there. And turn it and do the back page. And I think we're done. There we are. Now it needs to sit under some heavy books overnight. And it should be as smooth as can be in the morning. I've enjoyed doing these two collages. I did that one and I did this one today too. This is the first astronaut and this is the second astronaut. And when we come back we'll be doing the first robot and the second robot. I hope you've had a good time doing this, and I'm going to say bye-bye for now.